Hey guys, my name is Jenica, and today I'm going to show you how to make one of these Levi purse bags. They're super cute. I love these because they're great for being outdoorsy. It doesn't matter if they get dirty, grungy, whatever. It's nice because you can stick your water bottle or your chapsticks in this. I was also thinking of making one of these for my little boy because he likes to collect rocks and stuff, and it wouldn't matter because this is going to be a free bag that we're making. I'm not going to have to spend any money on it. So it's not going to matter if he gets it dirty, and it can just stay outside and I'm not going to care. And it's jeans, so it's going to last a long time. But these are just really cute, and it's not going to take very long. So let's go ahead and we'll get started. Okay, so to get started, we just need to find out what material we want to do. So these are the pair of pants I'm going to use, and since it's a really dark jean, I'm going to use just some scrap material that I have, and I really like the bright green on the dark colors. It just makes it stand out more than if I were to do a lighter color. So I ended up deciding I'm going to do this one for my little boy, and I'm going to put a truck on the front, and then I'm going to put some buttons on for the wheels. And I am not a good artist, so I just copied something off the internet, and then I'm going to cut this out and I'll put the print on this, and then we'll show you how I sew that down. But you can use whatever scraps you want. So this one, since it's nice and long, I might use that to go around as a belt. And then also for your pants, if you are going to do a jean, put the jeans for the strap, you could just use the bottom of your pants to make that. Or if you didn't want to use jeans for the top, you could also just make a second long just material that would go around if you didn't want to use jeans for the top. But I will probably use jeans. So that's all the material you need. You just kind of need to pick out what you want to do. If I wasn't going to do a truck here, if this was going to be girly, I was thinking of doing a couple stars or some hearts, something like that. And then I love this material, and I might end up putting a caterpillar, cutting out one of these caterpillars or something and putting it coming out of the back pocket. So it's just whatever you want. It's really simple. And now I'm just going to cut straight across right here where the crotch is, just straight across and straight across. It's just going to be super simple, just straight. Okay, so I'm just going to get this. I didn't make any lines or anything. I'm just cutting straight across.
Mommy.
And we're still just going straight across. Ooh, I can cut through.
Mommy, you're gonna get our truck.
Like this. It's still connected right here, so I'm just going to take the scissors and cut right in the middle. So then it's open. Looks like a little jean skirt. Could make a jean skirt. Okay, now that I have my little truck cut out, I have it where I want it, I'm just going to use some tacky glue. I'm just going to glue underneath this and glue that down a little bit and let it dry for a little bit. Just so when I am sewing it down, because I'm going to have to sew along all of these edges, it won't be moving around and stuff, and it will stay flat. Okay, so now I am making my belt out of this material, and what I did is I started right here. I measured how kind of thick I want my belt, plus you know, I'll have a seam, so my belt will be about that wide, which fits in. You have to make sure, however big your belt loops are, that it will fit in to your belt loops. So I just kind of went through, I made a little mark on my ruler, and I just added it, placed it there, and then I just went along and made little marks throughout, and I will just go back through and cut that straight across. And I've ironed it down so it lays nice and flat, so when I iron it, it will just be, when I sew it, it will just be flat and easy to iron sew really fast. Okay, so I made the belt. I just laid it down, cut it straight, and then I put it in my belt loops, and you can see that it's too big right now. But once I have this sewed, my seam will probably be about that big. And once I flip this is the back side. Once I flip that, it should fit in my belt loops really good. Okay, so I have my belt, and I'm just going to sew a seam straight down. I'm going to do a 3/8, it looks like on my sewing machine. And then make sure you back stitch, and you have that. Now I am just going to go through and flip this. So I'm just going to start right there, and I'm just going to start pushing it through. This will just take a while. You just kind of grab inside and pull. You'll just do that with the whole thing. Okay, so I was able to pull that all the way through, and now it's really round. So I'm going to go sew this down so it lays nice and flat. And then these edges, I am just going to fold them over once and iron that, and then I'm going to fold it again and iron that. And then I'm just going to sew a straight stitch right across, and then I won't have any frayed edges. So I'll go do that ironing. Okay, so now I am going to make the strap on top of that will go from here to here. This is just one of the pant legs. It was like this, and I just barely cut it, and I kind of ironed it a little bit so it wasn't so crinkly. And I like the thickness of the belt, and so that's how thick I want my strap to be. So I'm just going to kind of measure this off of that. So I'm just going to flip this over, and then I'm just going to lay this down and measure it just from there to there. I'm going to make it bigger since I will have to be sewing it. So I'll do that, and I'm just going to measure all of this, draw a line with my erasable little marker, and then I will iron it and then sew it and flip it so it's going to look just like this, except it's just going to be these jeans for the strap. Okay, so before I sew this strap, I wanted to let you know on some of my other bags that I made, like that one, the ones that I had like polka dots or something, I would cut polka dots and I would sew those on right now, and I sewed them all over. It was really cute or whatever, and I did that right now because once you flip this and you sew it, you're not going to be able to sew a design on your strap. So if you want a design on your strap, you have to do that first right now. Since this is going to be for a boy, I haven't really thought of what would be cute to go on the strap. I was thinking of doing his name or something. That would be fun, and I don't think it would be that hard to do. But I just decided I'm not going to do anything on this strap. It will just be plain. But if you wanted to, if you were going to do circles or something, you just cut out different sizes of circles or whatever, place them all over, sew around the edges, and then once you flip this and sew it, and then flip it right side, you'd have cute little circles all over your strap, and it'd be really cute. So you can come up with whatever design you want. I'm just not doing it for this bag I'm making. Okay, so I got this, I ironed it. I'm just gonna do a seam down here really quick. Okay, then I will go through, flip this, and we will get it sewn onto our bag. Okay, so now before we stitch up the bottom, I need to sew our truck on there right there. So what I've done, I'm just going to do a zigzag stitch. Show you right here. Which will be zigzag right here. And then up here, you can just decide how thick of a stitch you want. And I figured that out on a piece of just some piece of material I don't care about. I've just used this over and over to see how big of a stitch I want to get. And when you're doing this, make sure your pocket is not down here, because if it's down here, you're going to sew your pocket and you're not going to be able to get into your pocket. So make sure your pocket is up and out of the way. So for my stitching, so for the width, how thick my stitch will be is at a 3.5, and how close together my stitches will be is a 0.3. And I don't know if anyone's sewing machines are the same. That's just what I'm doing on this one. And I'm just going to go around the edges of the truck, and then the truck will be stuck down forever. And when I go to move, I stick my needle down in. I'm going to turn my jeans so I can go around the arch. So far, you can see the white outline just going across like that. So I'm just going to keep going and finishing that outline. So now our truck is on there for good. See the back side. This is what it looks like on the inside. Okay, so next we are going to sew on buttons. I'm going to put buttons on for the wheels. And in order to sew a button on this, these little claw teeth down there, those are what pulls your material through. So every time you sew, it grabs your material and pulls it through for you. Now on my sewing machine, I have had to take this base off. It was on right there. And back here, if I push this over, see those little feet that were right there? They are now gone. So when I sew on a button, it's not going to be pulling my material through it. I'm just going to use the zigzag stitch again, and it will just zigzag back and forth. It's not going to pull my material, so my material will stay there, and that way I can just sew on my button super fast. Okay, my foot, the button I'm using is too thick to fit under there, so I'm also going to take my foot off, which is this, and I just have to push that button and it releases that foot right off. So then when I stick my button and my jeans under there, I don't have to worry about the foot, and this is such a thick button that it wouldn't fit under there. So that's how you do that. Okay, so before I start putting my button on my jeans, I have it on the zigzag stitch, and I'm just going to manually go back and forth to make sure when my needle goes up and down that when it goes up and down, it's going to go in the holes of the button. It's not going to hit the button. So I've done that a couple times, so now I am ready to go ahead and put it on the jean. Okay, so we have our first button on there. That looks like that. And I am pregnant, which is why my belly looks so big. Okay, so now we are going to sew up our bag. I've just lined up my edges down here at the bottom. It doesn't really matter. It's just the bottom of your bag. Okay, so I got the bottom sewed up. Now, it kind of goes like this, and I don't like that. So, when you're making yours, make sure you cut your bottom straight across. I didn't do that because of the crotch area. I kind of went down, and because of that, you can see what happened. But I just want to show you this side of it. So I just sewed straight across, started right there. And then you can see my seam. I followed where I had cut and I went down and then kept going. This is what the other side looks like. And because of that, it's not very straight. It doesn't look like a good bag. So anyways, flip it. Push your corners out really good. Like I said, this is Levi's. It's going to be super sturdy. You're not going to have anything, as long as you sew it good and you have a good seam, you're not going to have anything falling out of the bottom right there. It's going to be really good. And so mine is kind of looking like this. So like I said with yours, when you do it, don't do what I just did. Make sure you go straight across and your bag would look better. But since this is just a little boy bag, I don't know if I'm even going to like it because I don't know if I want my little boy to have a little purse, but we'll see. He really likes the truck so far. Okay, so now all we need to do is add on our strap, sew that on, and then just tie our belt on and we're done. So let's sew our strap on. Okay, so I've pinned that right there, and then make sure when you take this that it's going to be straight, that you don't have your strap flipped, because then it won't lay on your shoulder. And then I have it pinned on this side, and I will just do a quick stitch just straight across right there, and then I'll come over here and I'll do a quick stitch right there and just stitch that down. I'm just going to keep using my white thread. You will be able to see the stitch on the outside of your pants, but since there's going to be a belt, it will cover that white stitch up, so I'm not too worried about keeping my white thread. Okay, this is nothing pretty. That's how that looks. I just sewed that straight across, and I went back and forth a couple times just because I don't want my strap to fall off. So definitely nothing pretty. If this was for something nice, I would have cared and made my lines really straight and stuff, but since it's just this. Okay, so our bag is completely done. We just have to go put our belt in it, and then it's all done. We'll have a little truck. Now, this is the most boring one I've ever made, so really you can come up with your own ideas. Like I said, diamond, star, hearts. I did swirls one time, and I had to sew around the swirls, but it looked really cool. And then if you can find some really old jeans, I had some jeans that were black, because the older they get, you know, they had like maroon jeans, and I had white jeans. So you could really come up with any idea that you want. And then you just have a really fun, cute bag that's fun for whatever. Also, when you're doing your strap, make sure you don't sew it, either sew in front or behind of your loops. Because if you do, then you're not going to be able to get your belt in. But I hope you enjoyed this video. Maybe it'll give you something fun to make or do or something. And it's just something really simple, a really beginner project that's really fun to do.
I don't have toys in my bag.
You don't have toys in your bag?
Yeah.
And you can just use that bag to take your toys everywhere, huh?
And I toys everywhere.
It's almost too girly for a boy, so I don't know if you should make it for a boy, but he'll love putting his toys in there.